Malicious compliance can be the best. I'm your host, Height. Let's see who's been blessed. Our first one is from Saxman Cometh. This started several months ago. I work as a DSD, direct store delivery driver, servicing bread and cake products for a certain yellow store chain. The style provides us a rack to display our cakes on, and it has a specific planogram. Despite this, it's generally agreed that each driver can use their own discretion to stock this shelf, including items not planned for the shelf. All except for one. The GM of my smallest store pulls me aside a few months back and complained about my cake rack.
I've had several people complaining about the prices on that shelf being mismatched, and we're forced to honor the price on the shelf.
This was a bit of an unusual complaint, but I was willing to fix it, saying, well, we can fix the pricing on that shelf, no problem. I'll just need you to scan the products to make me a tag, and I'll take care of putting them up. She immediately snapped back,
You know that shelf has a planogram, right? How about we just stock it correctly?
Very well. As they say, cue malicious compliance. I began stripping everything off the shelf that didn't match the tags on the rack, which meant I took everything away. The GM immediately started questioning why her most popular sales were being taken out. I just said, well, none of this is on the planogram, so I'll take it out and replace it with what's on there. Like you said. Dejected, she leaves me to it. This compliance has paid off twice. The first time, the same GM confronted me as soon as I arrived, advising me of holding out on her, commenting on all of the nice cakes at a different location store she's never seen in her store. I reiterated that they're not on her planogram, so I can't put them in. She snaps back,
Well, can't we just put some in anyway?
And I say with a smirk, not if there's not a spot for it. And she just tells me to carry on. The second time is when our imitation butter cookies rolled out. She begged me to give some to her store, and I asked if she had a spot for them. She says there can be room made, but I asked if there was a planogram for it. She gets mad and says,
I'm tired of you using my words against me like this. I just want the seasonal stuff.
And I tell her, admittedly a little pointedly, well, it's what you said. I can't do anything about it. And she just limps off. She very well could have all the fun snacks if she would just stop being a helicopter manager. What really cracks me up here is the manager wants all these things, but they're not willing to do the little bit of work required to be able to attain those things. And all OP's doing is simply complying, albeit a little maliciously because they know that manager really wants those things. This next one is by The Dragon Doji. My wife recently performed some tasty malicious compliance, so I thought I'd combine it here with her previous malicious compliance from 6 months previous. My wife works in the finance department for a government contractor. They're hybrid, but mostly all work from home due to limited office space, with the expectation her team is on site Mondays and Tuesdays. In this role, she has a busy end of month, every month, with a whole team working to post figures and is often required to work late into the evening or a few hours on the weekend to finalize the month end. This is important for later. Due to insane commuter traffic, she prefers to start at 7 and finish at 3 p.m., so that the commute is 30 minutes instead of an hour or more, each way, just sitting in congested traffic. 6 months or so ago, Manglement issued an edict requiring core hours, 8 to 4, when in the office, and more in-office days. My wife emails management saying that requiring her to sit in traffic for a wasted additional 4 to 5 hours a week would mean her evening and weekend flexibility would no longer be available. Cue a management response of,
Team player, blah blah.
My wife responds with a breakdown of time within her paid 40-hour week and how the flexibility established and continued since COVID had benefited the team. But as that flexibility is being reduced, it has a natural effect on her flexibility. They insist, so she leaves the office after core hours, gets stuck in traffic, and suddenly misses the end-of-day Teams call. Of course, Manglement doesn't appreciate this reality, but she has the emails of her insistence and can't control traffic patterns, and Manglement doesn't want to schedule the meeting earlier. If they want her on the call, either she reverts to her original schedule or enters into overtime to take it in the office. They suggest her previous schedule for the foreseeable future to aid team cohesion. Recently, her Manglement decided that all overtime has to now be approved by a direct line manager. Cut to last week. My wife has been exiting meetings on the dot at the hour. Sorry, I've got a hard stop now due to no approved overtime. Bam! Drops from the meeting. She's even started to affect other team members, with her and a colleague ceasing work on the dot due to not approved. Management is of course on the hook for incomplete end-of-month figures and starts inquiring. The team replies back with the OT edict. All OT require manager approval. It wasn't pre-approved, so I stopped working to adhere to the new policy. My wife mentioned that they hadn't responded to this yet, but it's been weeks already. All of this after management still hasn't backfilled an open department position for over 5 months, so they're down an additional person. I'm now thoroughly enjoying her work stories and think reading this sub to her over the years may have had a positive impact. I mean, what does the management really expect? If they're gonna sit there and tell people that you're not supposed to work overtime unless it's approved, but then intentionally schedule things so it would push people into overtime, they can't really get mad at people for complying with what was said. This just happens to be malicious because the management really needs those people around, but is dragging their feet on approving that OT. And our final one is from Jodrell Bank Pants. Recently, my company introduced a new process for supplying customers with expensive consumables. Previously, this process involved a lot of direct communication, numerous emails, and face-to-face meetings with customers to understand their needs. However, while I was on PTO, everything changed. Without any notice or consultation, a completely new system was implemented. My team, which used to handle about 65% of the previous process, had no involvement whatsoever in designing or approving this new method. Now, instead of collaborating directly with customers and colleagues, I've been given a standardized form divided into 4 sections. One for me, one for sales, one for logistics, and one for the territory assistants and managers. My section of the form is minimal. All I do is indicate how many boxes to supply. Critical details such as who the customer is, where the order is going, pricing adjustments, and the preferential rates, information I used to manage, are no longer included. To make things worse, customer details on the forms are often incorrect. I used to fix those errors in the system, but I no longer have permission to do so. That's now handled by head office. Even though I know my customer base well and try to provide accurate updates, my emails now bounce back. When I raised these issues, I was simply told to follow the form and not deviate. So I did. I completed my section, sent it to the designated address, and moved on. Nothing happened, until months later, when a customer called to say they were running critically low on consumables. I escalated the issue to my manager, but by that point, I had already submitted 24 forms without any feedback or visible results. Recently, while I've been off recovering from surgery, I received an email asking for the same data I used to provide under the old system. I've chosen not to respond. That information is scattered across old emails and records, and it's no longer my responsibility. Ironically, the new process that was supposed to reduce costs and simplify operations has left 3 department heads confused and unable to proceed. They don't know the customer names, product details, we have 197 different products, or order history, only the number of boxes. The system they rely on can't function without accurate data input, and since I'm now strictly following the form as instructed, that data isn't being entered anymore. In short, the new process has stripped away the practical knowledge and collaboration that once made the system work. It's inefficient, confusing, and ultimately counterproductive. How ironic is it that a system that's implemented that's supposed to make things easier and save time actually drags things out, makes things harder, and makes things take so much longer? Makes me wonder who got the bonus for trying to implement this system. Alright, that's enough maliciousness for the day. Well, that wraps up this episode of Malicious Compliance. If you liked the video, please drop a like, share my content on all of your social media, subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure to hit that bell so you're notified every time I upload, and drop a comment down below. It really helps with the algorithm and helps new people find my channel. Thanks for watching, thanks to my patrons and super thanks contributors. Have a great day and stay safe out there.